Hey guys, this is Thomas over here at NurseMoneyTalk.com, and in this video what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the reasons why I chose to become a nurse versus becoming a doctor. Now, when I was in undergraduate, I actually went back and forth between pre-med, pre-pharmacy, interestingly enough, also engineering as well. But that's a story for another day, before ultimately deciding on doing nursing. So I'm going to share with you some of those reasons for that. Before I get to that though, if you're not already subscribed, I want to go ahead and invite you to hit that subscribe button on this channel. I talk about all things related to nursing student, and nurse life. After watching this, if you are interested in becoming a nurse, make sure you check out NurseMoneyTalk.com/schools to find nursing programs, whether that be hybrid, online, or in classroom only. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the first reason why I just decided to go the nursing route and not the physician route. And that's that it just takes less time to become a nurse. So if you look at the general track of being a nurse, you can probably get it done in about 4 years or so. Even if you're going for your BSN track, it'll probably take you about 2 years to be, to get your prereqs, and about 2.5 years or so to get your BSN. So you're really looking at 4 to 5 years, generally speaking. That's not the case to become, a doctor. You're probably looking at, 4 years of undergraduate, and then assuming that everything works out according to your plan, then you'll be looking at 4 years of med school. Then you'll be looking at anywhere from like 3+ years of residency. You could be looking at fellowship, depending on what you want to do. I mean, the years just piles on and on and on. And honestly, after a certain point, I just didn't want to be in school anymore. And so that's why I went the nursing route. Now, before I continue on to some of the others, I do want to emphasize that this video is not to bash being a doctor, or to say, being a nurse is the best and being a doctor is not. That is not what this video is about. In my family, I have doctors. In my family, I have nurses. So I have, a mix of both. But it's really just to highlight a couple of things that hopefully, as you're making a decision, that will help you make an informed decision. So let's go ahead and get started with number 2, which is, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to become a nurse. I don't know how many nurses that come out with 6 figures worth of student loans. Surprisingly, I have met a couple, but that was because they went to crazy expensive, private schools, and then also it took them, a pretty long time to get that degree. But just generally, just going normal start to finish, like from a public school, you're not going to come out with 6 figures worth of student loans, most likely not. But physicians, I mean, 100,000, it seems like it's just a starting point. You could easily be looking at 200,000 plus. I've listened to some Dave Ramsey calls where you have people who became physicians, and it's like 200,000-300,000 plus. I mean, that's just a lot of money spent on education. Or you could make the argument, well, they'll end up making more money or whatever, and that's true. But it's also a lot of money spent on education. The next reason is that, to me, nurses have better schedules and better work-life balance. You'll find a couple of nurses here and there that might work in a field where they have to take calls. Typically, it's not that horrible, but that's not the case with physicians. I mean, some of them, it's like constant call. It's like every waking moment, it's like taking phone calls here, phone calls there for this patient that got admitted, I need an order for this. I mean, it's just, to me, like the work-life balance for the nurse is just so much better than that of a physician. The next reason why I decided to go down the nursing route is that it's a lot easier to switch specialties. That's not necessarily the case for physicians. I mean, not saying that they couldn't switch specialties, but as far as I understand, it's not that easy necessarily. You know, if you got board certified for this, it's kind of hard to then go do something else. But with nursing, I mean, I went from doing, for instance, ICU to doing psych. Gero-psych, went from doing gero-psych, then I did pediatric psych, then I went from that to doing case management, then I did GI nursing as well. And who knows, I could end up deciding tomorrow that I want to go do, I don't know, like labor and delivery nursing. No, I'm not doing that. But the point is, though, is that it's easier to switch specialties as a nurse. The next reason, and this, I don't know if you want to call this a good reason or not, it is something that I thought about, and I think it's something that I'll just kind of share with you as well, if that matters at all to you. And that's like, I think the status of being a doctor is, I think, more prestigious than it is being a nurse. I mean, if you take disagreements with that, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section, but I feel like in general there's more prestige when it comes to being a doctor or a physician than it is being a nurse. But I think that nurses are definitely more on the forefront of a patient's mind. I mean, if you look at some of like these, I don't know, like some of these Gallup polls or whatever. I mean, I've talked about it in some of these in some of my other videos, and I've talked about it in some of the articles I've written on NurseMoneyTalk.com, and about just like how, like continuous, after X number of years, nurses are still voted as like the most trusted or one of the most trusted professions out there. There's definitely high regard for nurses. And if you think about it, we're there with the patient, especially if it's inpatient, 24/7. If you're inpatient, you're gonna have 24/7 nursing care. And so I do think, I don't know if that's really anything worth per se convincing you to do one versus the other, but it is something we're thinking about, because some people, they want the prestige, and so prestige is a big deal, so they're gonna go the prestige or the money, then they're gonna go the physician route, which hey, nothing wrong with that. If that's that's the route you want to go to, more power to you. But if you are wanting to learn more about nursing and what opportunities are available to you as a nurse, make sure you check out one of these videos. I'll show up over here to my left. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you very soon in that next one.